So, I think this whole COVID-19 quarantine outbreak fiasco, it's all an emergency scenario orchestrated by the globalist elites. Yeah, they're facing the end of the road next November, and they're making their big move. World domination has always been their goal, and the United States has always been their biggest obstacle of their plans. And this is just their latest attempt to scheme the system and stay in power. Why? Well, because things were not going very well for them. You've got your globalist wing of the Democratic Party, but they were absolutely getting destroyed on the issues. They had terrible candidates, and they were exposed at the State of the Union disaster. Yeah, not a good look.
God bless America. Thank you very much.
It was a bad night for the Democrats, and it was even more humiliating as, of course, the massive defeats for the Russian probe and the impeachment hearings. I mean, the modern-day Democratic Party was so old and ineffective. They were fading fast. I mean, they were just ready to get run over in an election landslide. So how would you compete with that? They can't go against Trump in November. So what do you do if you're the elites and you want to take over? Well, maybe you play the pandemic card. I mean, it's plausible, and it's always been a possibility in the globalist playbook. And it could have happened with Obama or Hillary or anybody. I mean, it's just a way to grab power and control. So is that what they were going to do? Are they going to, try to crash the economy and blame everything on Trump? Perhaps.
Thousands infected. An economy in freefall, government unprepared. And what does Donald Trump have to say?
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
I can promise you this. When I'm president, we will be better prepared.
I mean, how else are they going to get their agenda through? And they have such big plans for humanity. A future where they get to rule over you forever. And, there's some debate on what that would look like, whether it would be something like UN Agenda 2030, or maybe it would be something more extreme like, I don't know, China. In some way, there's going to be a bunch of unelected bureaucrats and a centralized power structure, ruling over us, technocrats and big secret elitist think tank meetings planning the future. And, some of this stuff will sound nice. It'll be, green initiatives, saving the earth kind of thing. But let me ask you, what would you say your carbon footprint is? And, how much do you think you could reduce that by? We might have to make a sacrifice and get rid of that, middle class lifestyle.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
But don't worry, there's still going to be lots of freedom. It's just going to depend on your social credit score. This is all to save the earth. Climate change. You're going to love it. If you're allowed to go outside, have you had all your vaccines? This is all for the greater good. I mean, well, probably not for your good, but by the time you figure that out, it'll be too late. I guess you could try to warn the others, but it's going to be difficult when you don't have freedom of speech. I guess it's going to be time to, work on that social credit score.
I see there's one standby seat on another plane leaving tonight. That's reserved for members of our Prime Flight program. You got to be a 4.2 or over to qualify.
Oh, I'm a 4.2.
I'm afraid you're actually a 4.183.
Well, that's not my fault. Some woman dinged me down in the cadre. Can't you just...
I'm sorry, it won't let me book it without the correct ranking.
But it's so close.
There's just nothing I can do.
Christ, surely.
I'm gonna have to ask you to moderate your language then.
But unfortunately for the globalists, this really amazing utopia they had been planning was still just a twisted authoritarian fantasy at this point. This was going to take something significant to regain control again, and they were going to need some help to pull this off. So, how do you carry it out? Work with your greatest asset, China. Of course, you got Bill Gates is going to be spending billions on new factories for vaccine makers because he's planning on manufacturing billions of vaccines.
How you get a vaccine that making 7 billion of those is going to be an incredible challenge.
Of course, Dr. Fauci also happens to be on the Leadership Council of the Foundation and the Medical Advisory Board. He also claimed in early 2017 that Donald Trump would face a surprise outbreak during his administration.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak. But also there will be a surprise outbreak. But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
And is it unusual that we give all these organizations millions upon millions of dollars, and then they never seem to know how to really combat the virus? Whether it's how it spreads, whether they need to wear a mask, whether they should shut down travel. I mean, they were way behind. So what are we paying them for? Which makes you wonder, is this really all about, health for everybody? Do they care about us? Or is it really about money and power and control? Look at that. You can see Bill Gates in the background. Great graphic there. If they have their way, they're going to make all vaccinations mandatory. They're making a push, a big, massive push for public vaccinations before we can go out in public again. Believe it.
It is fair to say things won't go back to truly normal until we have a vaccine that we've gotten out to basically the entire world.
Anyway, the globalists had their man, Bill Gates. They had their muscle in China. Hail Hydra!
Hail Hydra.
Alright, so how is this all going to play out? Well, as I said in the beginning, I think there's 4 potential scenarios. We'll start with number 1. That would be elect Joe Biden. Creepy, corrupt, fading. This is the best that the Democratic Party could do. In 4 years of nonstop attacks on Trump, you'd think, in a big field, you'd think they'd find somebody better, but apparently it didn't go that well. He's the perfect puppet for the globalists, so I guess that's really what matters, is what they can convince the public to vote for. The poor guy probably doesn't know what planet he's on half the time, so, he'll go along with anything they tell him to do.
Play the radio. Make sure make sure you have the record player on at night. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the thing.
Does anybody want to really explain to me or anybody how they think Joe Biden would have done a better job than Donald Trump the last 4 years, or that how he's going to be a better candidate the next 4 years? Anyone? I mean, give me a break. Well, the current field of Democrats didn't offer much hope, so leads me to scenario number 2, in which they'll maybe try to remove Trump with some other impeachment type of thing. Already they're talking about another investigation as far as the pandemic response is concerned. Good luck with that. And I guess maybe if that doesn't work, they could maybe try some sort of election fraud with the mail system they've been talking about. Of course, with no voter ID required, and I don't know how they're going to ensure the integrity of that. Or they could turn to the globalist playbook and come up with some other scenario. Just hope that no one gets hurt and nobody falls for it.